burger sitting in that colorful paper wrap on your table is a lie. It is not just grilled meat and bread. It is a masterpiece of industrial engineering, but it hides a secret that the food industry fought a war to keep hidden. If you knew the journey that meat took before it hit the grill, you might never take another bite. We aren't talking about fake meat or lab-grown protein. We are talking about something much more disturbing. Imagine a substance so unappealing that for decades it was only used for dog food and cooking oil. Imagine a substance so filled with bacteria that it had to be washed in the same chemicals you use to scrub your bathroom floors. Now imagine that same substance being pumped into millions of burgers every single day. This is the story of pink slime. You see, the massive machinery of the modern food industry hates waste. Waste is lost money. So, engineers spent years trying to figure out how to take the trash, the fatty scraps, the sinew, and the bits stuck to the hide, and turn it into profit. They succeeded. They created a process so powerful that it changed the way the world eats. But there's a catch. To make this trash edible, they had to use massive centrifuges that spin faster than jet engines. They had to use pressurized pipes filled with ammonia gas. And they had to do it all behind closed doors. Why does this matter to you right now? Because even though the headlines have faded, the machines are still running. The labels have changed, but the process remains. Every time you buy a cheap burger, you are participating in a giant industrial experiment. You are the final stop for a machine that was never designed with your health in mind, only the industry's bottom line. In this deep dive documentary, we are going to peel back the steel walls of the mega factories. We are going to look at the machines, hear the stories of the people who tried to stop it, and finally answer the question, what is really inside your fast food burger? We are going to look at the global trade of this substance and why it's nearly impossible to avoid. We will explore how your body reacts to these chemicals and why the world's biggest brands were forced to make a choice: protect their profit or protect your health. This is the most comprehensive look at the pink slime scandal ever created. Let's go inside. To understand the scale of this scandal, we have to look at the massive machinery that runs a modern meat processing plant. This is not a kitchen. This is a heavy industry refinery. When a cow is processed in a mega factory, it is moved along a high-speed disassembly line. Skilled workers and robotic arms cut away the prime steaks, the ribeyes, the loins, and the roasts. These are the high-value cuts. But once those are gone, there is a massive amount of material left over. These are the trimmings. Trimmings are mostly fat, but they have small bits of muscle tissue clinging to them. In the 1960s and 70s, these trimmings were considered low-grade waste. They were used for tallow, which goes into soaps, or they were rendered into pet food. The reason was simple. You couldn't separate the meat from the fat by hand. It would take too long and cost too much. Plus, because these trimmings come from the outside of the animal, they are heavily exposed to bacteria, the industrial grinder, and preheater. In a pink slime factory, these trimmings are dumped into giant stainless steel vats. They are moved through a massive grinder that crushes the fat and the meat into a thick, chunky red slurry. But you can't separate meat from fat when it's cold. So, the slurry is pushed through a series of heat exchangers. These are pipes surrounded by hot water. The temperature is raised to exactly 100 degrees Fahrenheit. This is just enough to make the fat start to melt and turn into a liquid, but not enough to cook the meat. Imagine the sound of this room. It is a constant low-frequency vibration. The smell is of warm, raw fat, a heavy, sickly scent that fills the lungs. The high-speed centrifuge, the heart of the process. Now comes the most impressive piece of machinery in the building. Imagine a steel drum the size of a car, spinning at 3,000 to 4,000 revolutions per minute. This is the centrifuge. The warm meat-fat slurry is pumped into this spinning drum. This is basic physics. Because lean meat is denser and heavier than liquid fat, the centrifugal force flings the meat outward against the walls of the drum. The lighter liquid fat stays in the middle. A series of tubes and scrapers then separate the two. The liquid fat is drained away to become industrial tallow. What is left behind is a lean pink protein. When it comes out of the centrifuge, it looks like a soft, bright pink paste. It has the texture of soft-serve ice cream or Play-Doh. It is 95% lean protein, which is very valuable. But it has a deadly secret. The heating and the spinning have created the perfect environment for bacteria to explode: the ammonia gas injection system. To make this pink paste safe for human consumption, the factory has to kill the bacteria. This is where the chemistry becomes industrial. The pink paste is moved through a series of pressurized tubes. Inside these tubes, it is blasted with anhydrous ammonia gas. Think about the ammonia under your kitchen sink. Now imagine it in a pure concentrated gas form under high pressure. When the gas hits the pink paste, it raises the pH level of the meat. It makes the meat highly alkaline. This change is so violent on a microscopic level that the cells of bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella literally burst and die. The industry calls this a processing aid. Because it's a gas that is supposed to evaporate, the government decided that companies didn't have to list it on the ingredients. But the smell in the factory tells a different story. Whistleblowers have described the scent as so sharp it burns your eyes and throat. Even after the gas is gone, the meat is changed forever. The final transformation: once the meat is gassed, it's not done. It's still a warm, gooey paste. It is pushed into a flash freezer. This machine uses liquid nitrogen or massive refrigeration units to turn the paste into rock-hard blocks in seconds. These blocks are then smashed into smaller chips or bricks. These bricks of pink slime are then shipped across the country. They go to other factories where they are tossed into giant mixers. Here, they are combined with regular ground beef. Because the pink slime is so lean, it actually makes the final burger look redder and fresher. Most importantly, it lowers the cost of the burger by about 3 to 5 cents per pound. When you are selling billions of burgers, those pennies turn into hundreds of millions of dollars in profit. While the industry claims the ammonia disappears, independent scientists have raised serious questions. What happens when we consume protein that has been chemically altered? When ammonia reacts with the moisture in the meat, it can create ammonium hydroxide. While the government says small amounts are fine, our digestive system is a delicate balance of good and bad bacteria. When we eat meat treated with harsh industrial gases, we are introducing substances that our bodies never evolved to handle. Some studies suggest that highly alkaline foods can disrupt the stomach's natural acidity. This acid is what helps us break down food and absorb nutrients. If our food is being pre-treated with industrial chemicals to kill bacteria, what is it doing to the good bacteria in our guts? This is the question the meat industry never wants to fund a study for. They focus on the fact that the meat is clean of E. coli, but they ignore the fact that the meat structure has been damaged. Furthermore, the heat used in the centrifuge, even if it is only 100 degrees, can begin to break down the delicate proteins. You aren't getting the same quality of nutrition as you would from a steak. You are getting damaged protein. This is why pink slime is often called empty protein. It fills your stomach, but it doesn't nourish your cells in the same way. For years, you were eating this and nobody told you. The industry worked very hard to keep these machines a secret, but every secret has a weak point. For pink slime, that weak point was the people who had to inspect it, the man who coined the name. In 2002, a USDA microbiologist named Gerald Zernstein was sent to inspect a facility making LFTB. He was a scientist who cared about food safety. When he saw the centrifuge and the ammonia gas, he was disgusted. In an internal email to his colleagues, he wrote, "I do not consider the stuff to be ground beef. It's a salvage product." At the end of the email, he used the phrase that would change the world: pink slime. Zernstein wasn't the only one. Another inspector, Carl Custer, has warned that the government was allowing the industry to sell scraps as beef. They argued that the nutritional value wasn't the same. They argued that the ammonia was a chemical treatment that consumers deserved to know about. The 2012 explosion. The secret finally broke wide open in 2012. A major news network, ABC News, ran a series of reports. They used Zernstein's term, pink slime. They showed the bright pink goo. They interviewed parents and school chefs. The reaction was like a wildfire. Suddenly, people realized that their 100% beef burger was actually a mixture of real meat and chemically treated scraps. The contrast was too much. The industry claim, it's just lean beef. The reality: it's a sludge made from the parts we used to throw away. Within weeks, the world's biggest fast food giants were in a panic. McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Burger King all released statements. They claimed they had already stopped using the product or were in the process of doing so. But the public asked, why were you using it in the first place? The legal war. BPI versus ABC, but the industry didn't go down without a fight. Beef Products Inc., BPI, the company that owned the technology, sued the news network for $1.9 billion. They claimed the term pink slime was product disparagement. They argued that the news had lied to the public and destroyed their business. This court case lasted for years. It was a battle of technical jargon versus public right to know. In the end, the case was settled out of court for an estimated $177 million. The industry wanted to send a message: if you talk about our machines, we will sue you. Let's talk about the brands. Companies like McDonald's have a gold standard for their meat. But in the 1990s and 2000s, the pressure to keep the $1 menu was massive. To sell a burger for $1 and still make a profit, you have to cut costs everywhere. The pink slime technology was a dream come true for these corporations. It allowed them to buy meat at a fraction of the price. For years, these giant brands were the biggest customers of the pink slime factories. They only stopped when the PR nightmare became too expensive. When the news broke, these companies didn't stand up for the product. They ran away from it as fast as they could. This tells you everything you need to know. If the product was truly high-quality lean beef, like the industry claimed, why were the world's biggest burger experts so afraid to be associated with it? It shows that even the companies knew it was a low-grade filler. They were willing to feed it to us as long as we didn't know. The moment we found out, it was no longer efficient. It was toxic to their brand image. While the scandal was huge in the United States, the machines didn't stop. They just moved. The global trade. Where did all that pink slime go after the U.S. grocery stores rejected it? The answer is the global market. Massive amounts of finely textured beef are exported to countries with lower food safety standards. It is often mixed into frozen meals, canned meats, and institutional food, like prisons and hospitals, where the consumers don't have a choice. In many parts of the world, there are no laws requiring companies to disclose mechanical separation. This means that in 2026, the pink slime machines are running faster than ever, feeding millions of people in developing nations who have no idea they are eating chemically treated salvage. The rebranding of 2026. Back in the West, the industry has become smarter. They realized that ammonia was the word that scared people, so they changed the chemical. Many factories now use citric acid or lactic acid instead of ammonia. Does this make it better? Scientifically, yes, it is slightly safer, but the industrial process is the same. The scraps are still there. The centrifuge is still spinning. The goal is still the same: to sell you the cheapest possible material for the highest possible price. And the laws have actually become more confusing. In 2018, the USDA changed the rules. They decided that finely textured beef could now be labeled as ground beef. This was a massive victory for the industry. It means that today, when you look at a package of ground beef in the store, there is absolutely no way for you to know if it contains pink slime or not. The machines have won the war of labels. They are hidden in plain sight. They are in your frozen burritos, your school's taco meat, and your discount burger patties. The industry successfully waited for the scandal to die down, changed a few names, and went right back to work. So, what is the final verdict on the pink slime scandal? Is it safe? The government says yes. Is it beef? Technically, yes. But is it good? That's a question only you can answer. The pink slime story is about more than just a pink goo. It is about a food system that has become so complex and so industrial that it has lost its soul. It is a system that views a cow not as an animal, but as a collection of proteins and fats to be separated by high-speed centrifuges. The industry argues that this technology is necessary. They say that without it, beef would be a luxury that only the rich could afford. They act like they are heroes for saving pennies on a burger, but they forget that food is about trust. When you hide the process, you break the trust. The lesson we must learn is that efficiency should never come before transparency. If a food product is so unappealing that you have to hide the way it's made, maybe you shouldn't be making it at all. As we look toward the future of food in 2026 and beyond, we will see more machines like this. Yes, we will see meat glue, fake blueberries, and wood pulp fillers. The only weapon we have is our voice and our choice. Support the farmers who show you their fields. Support the butchers who grind their meat in front of you. And, most importantly, never stop asking what is really inside your food, because if you don't ask, the industry will keep spinning its machines in the dark. I want to hear from you. Does the idea of mechanically separated salvage bother you if it keeps the price of food low? Or would you rather pay more for meat that hasn't been through a centrifuge and a gas bath? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps us bring more of these industrial secrets to light. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and keep a very close eye on what's on your plate.